Yep. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to mention that we have a little bit of adjustment of our agenda tonight. We are very happy. I'm very happy to report that Mr. Jackson is here. Is going to give us an update on area C, cell C construction at Brown Station Road. And I'm also going to have a few words about the goals I sent out, and I also want to inquire, Kevin, about the budget prep process. So just want to add that to what we're going to talk about. We can just cover that in our committee reports. So with that, we're going to start off with Mr. Jackson is going to give us an update, and I presume I know I have some questions about with the construction and concerns, so hopefully he can stay for some questions. So, Mr. Jackson?
Good evening, everyone. Are you seeing my slides here? My presentation, is it showing coming up?
Nope. No.
Okay.
No, Eric.
All right, let me share again. How about now?
Yes.
Yep.
So, today's presentation is about the progress that we've made on this Area C project that's been ongoing at the landfill. The project is going very well from a construction standpoint. We have completed a number of ancillary projects along with the cell C1, the actual cell C1 construction. We have accomplished the deconstruction of the old lots, and we have relocated, reconstructed, and reorganized the new lots for resident drop-off. That has been pretty much been completed 100%, except for the new lot construction. So we are set for the reopening here soon in the spring. The cell C1 project has come to a stop somewhat because of the weather condition that's unfolding in the winter time, and the liner cannot be placed. No work can be done further than it is right now. We have achieved construction of the cell subgrade. However, that is completed, and we are awaiting the remobilization of the contractor to continue from that point on. We have established the new perimeter roads. Those are completed in terms of the subgrade and structure. Some paving and grading is still pending, but the road alignments are pretty much set in place as per design. As I said before, this picture illustrates where the construction activity is right now. Subgrade level is completed, and next step for here early March will be the liner construction, which is going to be major to the cell C1 project, followed by some grading, and that will prepare the cell C1 for the trash placement. As you all know, by now, this cell C1 is scheduled for completion in October of 2025, this year, actually. So that will be our accomplishment, having this first cell of the Area C project completed and start receiving trash. The scale house project is still under construction, which entails pretty much the bump out to the old scale house. It's under construction. Construction is scheduled to be completed here in April. That portion of the scale house leads the site work, however, as the site work is slightly delayed due to stormwater permitting issues. So we have led the building construction portion of the project ahead of the site work. And the site work will be permitted sometime, is projected to be permitted sometime this year. So we have suffered some challenges because of the stormwater requirements and the constraint of the site. We're working through those issues, and we hope to get permit here sometime this year. Another project to note is the new lot construction that we have proposed for the opposite side of Brown Station Road, adjacent to the current convenience center. That site is pending development. We're having some issues also with stormwater management. That site is going to be used for we're going to transfer most of our activities that have taken place from a drop-off standpoint for residents over to that site when it's completed. We have had some issues, mainly because the site, as you know, we're trying to incorporate the HHW, and from a DPI standpoint, it was considered to be a hotspot, and that presents a couple of challenges in permitting for stormwater.
What does hotspot mean?
Well, hotspot by DPI's definition is associated with the use of the facility. And for example, a fueling station, a gas station would be classified as a hotspot by the state requirements. These are state classifications, and the gas station would be one. It is tied to potential runoff from the site that could commingle with stormwater. So that's
part of that construction is going to involve a filling station basically for county vehicles?
No, not at all.
Well, you said gas station. What are you referring to?
Well, Chuck, I'm giving an example of what a hotspot technically is associated with. It's associated with runoff that could commingle with contaminated materials.
Such as a gas station. Okay.
Such as a gas station, yes.
Okay, got it. I thought you meant a gas station. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we're having some challenges. We're working through those. Nothing we can't, it's not insurmountable. We can definitely work through the issues with the different BMPs that DPI is recommending for the site. I'll roll right into the perimeter fence project and tree planting. We are proposing to erect a fence, perimeter fence, and buffer planting along Brown Station Road as a part of this project. The fence to be erected will be a 6-foot chain link fence topped with three stranded barbed wire. It's about 8,000 linear feet. So it's going to
raise
be
a question about that barbed wire. I mean, this isn't a prison. This is a landfill. And remember, there's residential people in that area.
As proposed, Chuck, that's the proposal currently.
Does that have to go through any site plan? Because the last approval for that didn't have barbed wire on it.
So just to let you know where the project is right now. We're currently working with our design engineer to come up with a set of plans that will be permittable by DPI and zoning.
Without going through a public hearing.
Whatever the requirements are through zoning, that's what will be done essentially. I know the site is zoned RR, rural
Rural residential.
residential. I can't remember completely, Chuck. If that's the case, I looked it up before, and it could be agriculture too. But more than likely it may be rural residential. But let me not get too much into that because I cannot remember exactly what it is. But
I'd hope you all would reconsider the barbed wire on top of the chain link. It's bad enough it's chain link, but then barbed wire on top of it, it's gonna look like a prison. What's the purpose of the barbed wire? You think people are gonna want to get into the landfill?
I think the safety concern is deterrent is mainly why we are using barbed wire. But if that's not permitted by zoning, that they will have their
I'm gonna lobby
Sure.
the commission to go against putting barbed wire on top of that fence. As a resident of this area. And I'm gonna lobby my neighbors to start lobbying.
Okay, so like I said, as proposed, that is a proposal right now. There are different avenues, like you said, Chuck, that you may want to pursue as a resident. But that as per this presentation, that's what we're proposing. And this current slide is showing sort of what we are driving for in terms of orientation and layout, with this fence going down the middle with the trees on either side. So it would be obscured somewhat.
But wait a minute, trees that are 15 feet apart don't obscure anything, especially because they're going to be planted. It's going to be 3 inches diameter.
And those are mature trees.
Yeah,
The
so
tree-
it's not going to obscure anything.
I'm sorry, Barbara, can you repeat that?
Saying the trees that are 15 feet apart visually don't obscure anything, especially when they're planted. They're only a few inches diameter. But even when they're mature and, a foot diameter, there's still 14 feet between of complete visual. So everybody is looking directly into the landfill from the road.
What I meant was more so having trees on the outer perimeter is somewhat obscured compared to just having the fence completely on the roadside.
What about doing some planting to actually make it that you're not seeing in from the road?
Yeah, Eric, if I may, so Chuck, I appreciate listening to the conversation, and especially that you live on Brown Station Road or along there, and the fact that barbed wire on the top is not necessarily going to look aesthetically pleasing, right? So I'm gonna take that back to the design team, which includes Eric, to sort of dig into, well, do we really have a need for that barbed wire? So point well taken. So we'll look more into that. But with respect to the trees, so it'll be evergreen trees. We do have a tree expert in our sustainability division who recommended what type of evergreen tree to plant. So we will have new evergreen trees planted within the spacing that the tree expert says they need to be spaced, so that as they grow and mature, they will basically, the outer branches would practically touch one another, but not necessarily encroach and grow into each other. So that's the spacing. So it will provide a visual screen, because the idea is we don't want anyone traversing up and down Brown Station Road to necessarily, be able to see the whole extensive expanse of the fence. We want the view to be the evergreen trees so that it is aesthetically pleasing.
Well, but the picture you show,
that's just Eric put in an example to try to give you the idea that there would be like these 2 rows of, there would be trees on either side with a fencing going down the center. So regardless of where you're standing on either side, the fence would be for the most part, visually out of view, because you'll just see the trees.
So let me suggest, Marilyn, the trees that are being shown here, the bottom branch only starts 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah, and these
Are
aren't
evergreens where
yeah,
the
Barbara, these
branches
aren't
are
even
from the
yeah,
ground up.
these aren't even the type of trees that were. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. These trees are, it looks like it's, which side of the street is this on? He's just showing an example. The evergreen trees that we're going to be planting, I don't think are going to look like this, because they're going to be evergreens, and it will be, I think it's in the cypress family, but I don't recall the exact name of the tree, but
So they're going to be more Christmas tree look.
more like a, and Kevin can
Leland.
definitely get you the name, because we know what we're planning. I just can't recall the name. It's not a Leland cypress, but it's sort of more in that kind of family, and it's more native to our area.
But it has branches.
It's
down.
full. It'll be full. Basically from the ground up, and so it will be a very nice screen, if you will, so that for the most part you won't be able to see the fence.
Marilyn, this will include the area where they've taken down the fence and the trees, correct? As well as the new fill. Because there's a large area where they've gone in and cleared it completely.
Yeah, so, and that's the area we're gonna replace all of the tree. We're gonna be planting the trees.
Can that be started before the new cells started to fill up? Since that cell is basically full. I mean, is this all going to have to wait until they've started actually filling cells, or until the cells are filled?
No, we have this, and Eric, please correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. I didn't mean to jump in. I just wanted Chuck and the others to know that we will look back into that barbed wire, and I wanted to describe the trees, because we did consult with our tree expert to make sure we were getting the best visually, native, also sort of like insect, deer resistant. We really took in great consideration what kind of trees would be going in there. But it's in the, we have to get a permit for the fence. So as soon as a permit is obtained, then the fence will go up. And I believe it's once the fence is up is when the trees will be planted after the fence. And there's a reason, like the fence has to go in first before the trees are planted. Did I say that right, Eric?
Yes, thanks, Marilyn, and definitely.
Okay, then I'll stop talking. I'll let Eric, because I didn't mean to sort of interrupt. So sorry.
So the green line is where the new fencing is going to be placed?
That is correct. And
What's the yellow line?
What's the yellow line?
The yellow line is actually across the street. We do intend to have tree planting there too.
Same type of trees and all that, or is this a different setup?
That would be correct.
Okay.
So that's at the pad site, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So in continuation, I think that's pretty much it for the fence portion. And as Marilyn said, we intend to plant these trees as quickly as possible. However, the permitting process is the only thing that we're waiting on. As soon as we have a permit in hand, we will start constructing the fence and planting the trees. That's pretty much it for the presentation as to what's going on in the Area Seed project. But as I'm open to questions regarding the entire site and the project right now.
Has the application for those for the fence and tree permits been already submitted?
Yes, that was done recently.
Do they give you a time when you might receive the permit, or is that who knows?
Who knows? Yes.
Okay. With their increased fees, you think they'd speed things up?
We do know that the fence permit is going, again, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's going to take a little bit longer than we may have initially anticipated, because we were waiting for an answer or an opinion from whether or not it would require Park and Planning's review, but it will require their review as well. So that's going to add, I don't know, I think it's about maybe 30 to 90 days to the review process. Is that right, Eric?
Yes, about that. I guess
Okay.
we can say at this point, we don't have a lot of control over the permitting process. We're expediting our application and we're hoping for a quick turnaround.
So if it requires park and planning review, are you looking for a staff level review?
No,
So it would be public hearing.
all fence permit that are of a certain height has to have to go through park and planning review.
I understand park and planning, but park and planning has two processes. It can be a staff review, or it could be a formal hearing. Do you know which it's going to be?
I understand you saying, Chuck, and I do understand the park and planning process. It's whatever meets the bill for this project, Chuck. They will determine the level of review.
Do you have an application number for the filing with park and planning?
It's not with park and planning currently. It's with DPI. So how this works is that the application goes into DPI, and based off the requirements of the project, the detailing of the project, the intake, it is routed to the different agencies.
And then they assign a number.
Yeah, a fence definitely is always routed to park and planning. In any fence application.
Well, if it ends up with a formal number, I'd appreciate it if you could keep me in the loop of what the number of the application is before park and planning.
We do have a permit number. We can give that to Kevin, and Kevin can distribute it. That would be a permit application number only. As to who's distributed to and what level of review is taking place, that's internal to DPI.
Can you send that out electronically, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't know who had their hand up first. Barbara or Dave?
Dave had it before me.
Okay, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, excuse me. I guess this report, or this description of the landfill, I don't think that was originally on our the agenda for tonight. Is that right?
No, we modified it.
Okay. I think what we need is actually a second, have this done again, but after we have gotten a copy of the Area C plan and the drawings, which we've asked for. I don't think we can ask good questions unless we have that plan and we can look at it before we have another report like this made by Mr. Jackson. So I hope we can get that plan so we can look at it and then, like I say, ask good questions. I don't feel like I can ask good questions tonight because there just wasn't enough information really to talk about the Area C itself. We're talking a lot of time about this fence, but the important thing is what's going on inside that fence. And I don't think we can ask good questions. I also want to ask, when is Area B going to be closed? Will Area C be opened and Area B will still be running for a certain amount of time?
So to be specific, as designed, David, this project merges Area B into Area C. And because of the nature of the design, would have been inevitable, that and unavoidable. So it's more so a merger. And to let you know, we are filling technically in Area C right now. We have a dual permit from the state, and that's how this project is being executed.
I guess my question though is that, I mean, that makes sense. And we were out there once and we did see where B and C will be, touching or whatever. But I guess my question is, we're talking about Area C will be ready in October of 25. After October of 25, will you still be bringing in trash to be buried on Area B for a time?
So, and again, when we say 2025, we're specifically referencing the cell, the new cell. So we construct a new cell, and even though we are constructing the new cell and not filling the new cell, we at this point we're on top of area B and is merging on. By that time, David, I would say there's no way to differentiate between area B and area C at that point. We will be filling straight into C, and at some point, the area B capacity would have been exhausted.
I
Well, it
think
sounds to me
Dave is
like-
asking if the parts of area B that you are now filling, when you are going to stop filling those and instead start filling the area that you're constructing now as C1.
And Barbara, there is no clear demarcation between area B and area C, so we are unable to say stop where we're stopping, and that's been a discussion in house. No one can actually tell what the difference between area B and area C as to stop and start. There's no stop nor a start for that. It's a merger.
It's a merger because we have area A and area B are just, think of like, okay, you have two mountain tops, right? Two mountains that come to a peak at the top. And the area C, what we call the infill project, is so you have two triangles, and now we're building basically an upside down triangle, right? So as we're putting in waste at the floor level and building up that upside down triangle, filling in that V, so to speak, upside down. As we're building up, we're tying into the existing area B and existing area A, so that eventually it will be one big mountaintop. So
Right, I think we understand that, Marilyn.
Okay.
I think the question is, right now, you are adding onto area B, my understanding is, off the photograph that you're showing to the right, at the high point of area B, not down at the very bottom of area B. So I think Dave is asking, when you start filling this area C1, are you going to stop filling at the high point of area B and be filling more where this arrow is pointing to cell C1?
You can only go so.
And
Oh, go ahead, Eric.
so
Sorry.
that is based off our filling plan and stormwater, and our filling plan will determine exactly how we fill. There are design plans that we have to follow, and those are design filling plans, and that dictates how we fill, compact and fill to manage stormwater and the whole landfill traffic process.
Right. And Barbara, there is a height limit that
Right, it's 220 for the old one and 250.
right. So that we cannot exceed. And I believe Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the area C permit,
We were told the old was 220 and the C is 250. The B was 220.
right. And Eric, is our area B, did that change any?
Not at all.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Thank you.
we have what our permitted elevations, and those are what we're maintaining. The filling plan would not allow above the permitted design elevations.
Marilyn?
No, so the area C, which is going to be, we're filling in this valley of the two existing, say, mountains, right? We'll have the new high elevation, Eric, because that elevation's a little bit higher than B and A. Is that correct? So that's going to be, once it's eventually all filled in, so it's like one mountain or one mound, area C peak or top will be at the high point. Is that right, Eric?
That's correct.
And then it all sort of, slopes down from there, around the entire perimeter.
We got that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to explain it in a way that hopefully you know, you can visualize it.
No, I think we visualized that. I think that
Okay.
wasn't addressing Dave's question.
Okay, okay, well, sorry, I tried.
Marilyn, is it possible we get a copy of those plans so we can look at that?
Well, we do know, I mean, so Nancy has submitted the FOIA request on behalf of SWAC, so we're just trying to get that. I mean, it's working through the process so that the plans can be provided.
Okay.
But Marilyn, I submitted for SWAC back in October, the FOIA for the haulers contract, where opposed to within 30 days, get it or get an explanation of why it's delayed. I have heard nothing.
I
So
know,
it
well,
shows
I
how much
know,
it's
and
worth doing.
I
mean,
know,
nothing
and
against
and
FOIA,
Andre,
and it's
I
just a
know, I'm
delay.
sorry. Andrea addressed that last meeting. I know we've been waiting, and I believe she said it's in the Office of Law, and we have no.
They do what they do.
I mean, it's just another way to delay giving the information.
Okay, Dave, do you have a question? I mean, Barbara, sorry.
Oh, yes. Question. We had heard that rumor that the new contracts for what to do with the methane were not going to be let separately, but were going to be rolled into this Area C project. Is that correct? And what's happening with them in the Area C project, if that's correct?
If you could repeat that again for me, Barbara. Sorry.
Yeah, because I didn't understand that either.
We had heard a rumor that the
Barbara,
contract.
that's not that, so I had shared that I had seen some documents, but that's not exactly what I said, Barbara. It was, what it was that what I had seen was that there was a possibility that the pipeline project was going to possibly happen under the aegis of dealing with the Cell C construction. That makes sense?
So if again, your rumors are out there, and I don't.
Well, it wasn't a rumor, it was actually in a document, but okay.
And with the review of that, the RFP, I am not privy to any of that because of the confidentiality of it. So that's why I honestly, I don't know what you saw, Nancy, but I have no knowledge of that at this point.
Okay, so there's okay, so hold on a second. There's two different issues. One is what was still up for a question mark. There are two different things. One is the 2.5 pipeline that was shut down in 2018, and that was providing gas use to the corrections and to the landfill. That was one thing. The other thing was there was a proposal let, an RFP for beneficial use of gas. Those are two separate things. So one question is, what is there anything happening with the pipeline under the construction project for Area C?
So Barbara, could we get a copy of the information that, is it a document that you received? We would like to review it and provide an answer.
Nancy, I think he's asking you.
Oh, yeah, if I can find it, yeah. I think it was in a council report, but I'd have to go back and look for it. But it doesn't obviate the question. Question's still the question. Is the pipeline, which has been held in abeyance, we've had this conversation quite a long time ago, but my understanding was that the county hadn't decided what to do about the pipeline. So is the pipeline being addressed in this current construction project, or no?
The only thing that we're addressing in this project is the Area C and the ancillary projects at this time.
Okay, so it doesn't include the work on the pipeline.
No,
No, it does not. Is that right?
that's correct. It does not.
Okay. Okay, so that was
Thank
one.
you.
Okay, then the other question.
But what may or may not, which I honestly do not know right now, I will find out eventually, probably here soon, What we do not know, the beneficial use of the landfill gas, that RFP that went out,
Right.
that they're currently the PAG, which is the Proposal Analysis Group, is reviewing, that may or may not, the pipeline to
May
the
or may-
DOC, the Department of Corrections, may, or it might, or it may not be included in whatever, say, company that, if the county awards a contract, it could be included to do both, to send power down to the, or gas down to the Department of Corrections, and also build the
Okay.
new infrastructure to send gas, like in Washington Gas Line, or it might not include it. I don't honestly know, but I know when the RFP went out, that option was in there for people to, as part of their response, to respond to that, based on the amount of, gas that we typically generate, et cetera. Did I say that right, Eric?
Yes, I would say, I don't think anything was specific about merging the projects.
No.
I thought we were told that the proposals had to be in December, and that by January we would hear what the reviewing determined.
Right.
What I can tell you is it's still under review within the PAG.
And Marilyn, do you have any sense of, is there any timeline on this project in terms of making a decision?
Well, what we were informed of today, from MES, the Maryland Environmental Service, and that's who the county contracted with to let the RFP, is that at the end of this month, there should be a recommendation at the end of the month back to the county of at least the top 3 responders.
How many responses did you get?
Eric, I believe, was it 11?
11, that's correct.
And so Marilyn, what's the process once the recommendation comes from MES to the county? Who reviews it at the county level?
Kevin, do you know, is it through like procurement, county exec's office, the agency?
I think it will go through the procurement office, Marlin.
Okay.
Does DOE weigh in any way?
Eric, can you answer that question?
Only from a technical perspective.
Yes, they're members of DOE and the PAC.
Okay.
I'm not on the PAG, so I honestly don't know any, Eric is serving on the PAG, but
He can't say
under
anything.
confidentiality
He can't say anything.
agreement, if he talks about anything, he could get fired. So he's got to be
Yeah,
careful
yeah, no.
what he says, yeah.
Well,
And I don't
whatever,
know, because I'm not on the PAG, so they're not going to share anything with me until it becomes public.
well, whatever is decided on being placed by the time the new cell is ready to be opened.
Chuck, what was your question?
My question is, will whatever is decided with respect to this request for proposals be decided and in place by the time the new cell is ready to be opened, which would be in October? It doesn't
No
sound.
way in hell. No way in hell.
doesn't
No
sound-
way.
So what are they gonna do with the gas that's coming off of the new cell?
Flare it.
Flare it.
Not you said flare it. Is that what they're gonna do with it, Marilyn?
I believe so. Eric, I believe it would be flared until it's developed, right, Eric?
That is correct.
With all the lead time you had to do this, doesn't it seem logical that you would have made sure you had that in place so that it was simultaneous with open the new cell? It's
Yep,
not
that-
like this was a surprise.
It
No,
would seem logical they would have done it in 6 years.
One would think so.
So what I can say is, we got to remember that we were pursuing the reconstruction of the pipeline also. So that for many years is part of the plan for reconstruction of the pipeline. And the design ran into some issues along the way. So that was a part of the plan also. And to pivot is possibly what took place.
Okay, Bill, you had your hand up?
Oh, yeah, it was basically what the timeline was for it. But it would seem that there's a possibility that within those proposals that were submitted, that one of the proposals might be that they would have an interim solution to taking care of the gas rather than flaring it. We don't know, but that's something that a contractor could propose if they had such a, a viable solution for doing that, I would think.
I agree.
So for all we know, there could be a accommodation for that gas from the get-go.
Did the request for proposals ask for an interim solution? I don't think so.
We haven't seen that
Yeah,
document.
that's the problem.
Marilyn, is that something, I think we've talked about this, would it be possible, is it possible to get a copy of the RFP?
That's public. It should be.
I thought, Kevin, help me remember here. I thought previously SWAC had asked for a copy of the RFP because wasn't it posted on MES's website? So it was fully available because it was public?
Yeah,
It's a
so
public
Nancy, it's available on the MES procurement portal. I provided the link before, but I can resend it again.
Thank you.
You
Okay,
just need to register and then you can have access to the document
okay,
and you will be able to see the timeline as well.
okay, thank you. That would be great. I'll send that, see if I can get that and send it. Mr. Jackson, I had a couple questions.
Sure.
I wanted to see if, during the project, if, the project included what they call an early gas collection system.
The Area C project specifically.
Yes, sir.
So gas collection is a program per pretty much per regulation and requirements of.
Correct. But there's meeting the requirements and then there's going above and beyond. So I don't know if the county construction plans had included using the horizontal piping that can collect. I know that you're not required to have a gas collection system for 5 years.
Yes.
But that's yes. And however, there's a lot of gas that will be escaping during these initial days. And my understanding is that this horizontal system is very inexpensive and very effective in these first few years. Is that something that's in this plan or it's not in this plan?
As per the gas collection system, that hasn't been designed as a part of our Area C project. We pretty much program the cell construction. As you know, like you said, 5 years, we have some time to determine our layout and mechanism and whatever strategy we'll use for gas collection.
Yeah, there's some there is apparently some companies that have a lot of expertise in this and help facilitate very inexpensively the installation of these. It's basically just these small horizontal pipes. You don't have to do it everywhere, just even the small amount apparently collects a lot of gas. And then I guess on the longer term vertical wells, I don't know if the county, if that system hasn't been designed yet, but these automated wells are very efficient and apparently can produce up to a 15% improvement in gas collection because they monitor the well activity, hourly. So I don't know. I think it's something that, the SWAC, we could write up a recommendation for that.
That would be very helpful. Plus, I'm taking notes here. Just
Okay. Well, we'll plan to do that then. We'll work on writing something up so that we can support getting a higher level of really good equipment and a good system going forward.
Very
And,
well.
and not spend 5 years with no collection.
And Nancy, I would just add, I mean, obviously I probably don't need to say that, but like the sooner, that Eric, you could transmit that over to us, because things are rolling along. And,
Right, no,
and if you wanted to get something in, before that 5-year mark, because designs and everything, all that takes time.
Right.
So,
right, yeah, okay. Yeah,
and it, I know you want to talk about the budget here today too, or this evening. But it's not just like the design, but the money to pay for it is, the budget as well. So
right, well, I think kind of the exciting thing is looking at the actual, I think this, is that an efficient collection system, we've been missing out on the revenues. There's costs, so there can be a balancing out, but we're missing out basically on the revenues. If we can increase the efficiency, and whether it can be gotten through an improvement in technology, that investment will pay back fairly quickly. And or there's also, I've been looking into carbon credits. There's a certain amount of carbon credits that has to do with managing the capture of methane, and the possibility also for some revenue production there. So the idea would be to help the county through both managing smells. The early system apparently really helps with because that's going to be an issue, is the smell problem, the emission problem, and the money problem. So yes, we will get on that very quickly.
great.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Jackson? Okay, all right, well, thank you. We'll reserve the right to bring Mr. Jackson back for further conversation as we move down the road with this project. And thank you so much for being here tonight and your presentation. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Okay, so let's go to, I think the next item on the agenda, Kevin, if you can, okay, is committee reports. So Dave, do you want to give
Okay,
an update?
sure. Our committee has actually nominated Michelle Blair for the county's annual, I guess it's recycling award. She is now underway with the Laurel composting program, which was going from a volunteer to a mandatory program, and it should be up and running totally by the end of July of this year. So we've nominated her for the county award, and I think they're going to be making the announcements tomorrow night. So I hope she has a chance of getting it.
Wonderful.
We've also been talking with Kevin Daly, who's a recycling mattress recycler, and we'd like to do would be to start up at least a pilot in one of the municipalities and see if we can get a pilot mattress program going, so that we don't have to have mattresses going into the landfill. And at least starting with a pilot, we could see how that might work.
That's wonderful. David, I'm sorry, what is the name of the mattress recycler?
Turbo Hall.
What hall? Oh,
Turbo.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yes, we have visited.
Marilyn, you probably know him.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I would be very interested in knowing the pricing, because for us anyway in the county, it was
we did a
very
tour
expensive.
We did a tour of their facilities, and he had
Yes.
indicated at the time we did the tour that he had some discussions with the county, and I can't give you the timing of that. And he said he wasn't getting much response back from the county, and that's why it never went forward. But they are
Yeah, it was-
definitely interested in partnering.
Yeah, it was we didn't have the budget for it. It was cost prohibitive because it was expensive. So
Marilyn,
we
I've
would
heard,
love nothing more than to get the mattresses and box springs. In fact, we support the the legislation that's right now in the state to really sort of hopefully put it more
When
on
you
the
say it was expensive,
manufacturers. But we are shredding the mattresses and box springs, and we're presently extracting the metal to hopefully at least get the metal recycled. But no, thank you, David. Just I didn't mean to interrupt, but I would be I'm very interested in knowing about that. So I hope it goes really well, and I think that's great.
well, Marilyn, you brought that up. I've heard though that the county had purchased or spending $2 million on that shredder. So that's money if we,
Yeah, I don't think it was 2 million. I think that was very exaggerated. But we're also shredding the tires. There's other materials that that we're shredding that really just makes sense from a landfill air capacity standpoint.
Mm. Okay.
So it wasn't just for mattresses, but it's very helpful with the mattresses and the box springs.
Okay.
So Dave, I had suggested, that maybe we have another meeting with Kevin specifically and talk about, what an expanded project could potentially look like, a potential partnership with the county, with the money, what would it look like if he moved to a closer site? Would there be a way to reduce costs? I don't know. I think we need to open up a conversation to see what might be possible, because like Marilyn said, I think, the idea is we've got to get this stuff out of the landfill, ideally. And the best use is to, remanufacture, which is what they do. They do some remanufacture and also if we land up, working with University Park, then collecting all that data and putting it into a fact sheet we can share with resource recovery and some of the other municipalities, in some way might be really useful. So people can make a quick assessment, is this something that they can fiscally handle?
Okay, I'll continue with my report. I'll try not to take too long. We've set up, we're talking with Steve Birchfield over at the OCF to do a tour. We're encouraging our commission members to attend, and we also are inviting some other folks to look at the packager, that the new technology they're using there to try to pull out plastics from some of the food and other wastes that are coming in there. And that we're scheduled to have that tour in a couple weeks from now. And I've told Kevin that I will get him a list of the people, or maybe I told Steve that. I think he said he would like to have the list of people coming. It probably won't be a huge number of people. He said they can have as many as 30 or 40. We might have a dozen or so I don't think it'll be a huge number, but I think we're all interested in seeing that packager in working. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Dave, did you invite Martha to that? Martha
What's that?
Ainsworth? Did you invite Martha Ainsworth to that? She might like to see it.
Sure. I think she's on the list, but
Okay,
I'll check that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
David, sorry, could you send me the list of the participants because I will have to prepare the briefing memo for the tour?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I've sent out an invite. I have a few people have already said they're interested, but I'm waiting for some other people, and I'll send that to you. Steve asked for it, and I think he was going to be sending it to you, but I can send it directly to you too.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I've just joined, and I think I'm not sure if other people might be interested in joining. There's something called a new group called the Maryland DC Compost Council, and that's primarily made up of people in Maryland and DC. And it'll be interesting to see how that council develops. I think it's good to really have as many different people who are working on compost, working together, coming from some different places. So that's actually, it's really a brand new group. They've only been meeting a couple months, and they have a meeting coming up, I think, later this week. So anyway, that's something which maybe some of our other commission members might want to be a part of. We also have talked to someone from Carbon Capture. This is a nonprofit that has, I think they work with NASA. They have satellites, 2 satellites that will look at large emissions of greenhouse gases, and particularly methane, around the world. And but they're looking not only at landfills, but they're looking at other places. For instance, places where there's gas or oil being produced, mined, or whatever. So we've asked if they might be able to, one of their flyovers, take a look at Brown Station. And they said they're considering, I think it would depend on when one of the satellites might be orbiting in this area, and they could take a look. So I think that's pretty much what I have to report tonight on from our Greenhouse Gas Committee.
Dave, do you want to talk about the survey?
Yeah, I can. Oh yeah, I'm really sorry about that. One of our other members, Louisa Robles, and another person who lives in Greenbelt, they're going to be working on a survey which looks at some of the practices, the solid waste practices in the different municipalities. And we'll be setting up a survey monkey to distribute among the municipalities to see just what they're doing, how they're dealing with their composting, if they're composting, recycling. Are they using their own crews? Are they contracting it out? We'll have a whole set of questions, and we're working on that right now and hope to have that in place probably within the next month. And that's in the process of happening right now. Nancy, do you want to add anything to that? No. Okay. So, and so anyway, that's all I have to report now. Thank you.
Okay, Barbara, do you have anything on communications?
No, just that you have, we were hoping to get this meeting that a couple of months ago we were told we would get with whoever in DOE and whoever in the county executive's office does messaging, that we could have a meeting, and are still hoping for that.
Adriana's, I'm certain in the morning, she's going to be responding to Nancy's email this morning.
Great.
Okay, so I'll just quickly do a legislative committee, which is basically me, update. So I did send the letters supporting the bottle bill to the House and Senate committees, and was really, really excited to learn. And I think I sent something out to everybody that the county is supporting the bill this year. So it's very exciting. Hopefully that will inspire Montgomery County and Baltimore County to come along. We can only hope. But if they see Prince George's moving out in front, they're going to want to jump in there. So we can keep our fingers crossed that this will be the year that this bill gets passed, which would be amazing for really dealing with litter. The other bill Marilyn mentioned.
So do you know how the hearing in the Senate went today?
I do not know.
It was
Haven't
a
heard
Senate
from
hearing.
anybody.
Yeah, I unfortunately had to give a presentation on composting at a community, so I couldn't go, but I am wearing the bottle bill t-shirt.
All right. Okay, way to go. Yeah, I wasn't able to go either, but I did our letters got in to the committees. So that's really good. And I sent everybody a copy of the mattress stewardship bill, which we did support last year, and I'd like to make a recommendation and take a quick vote on supporting it again this year, and I'll send a letter on behalf of the commission. So I'm gonna make a motion to support that piece of legislation, which is House Bill 858.
Second.
I second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion necessary? No, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody, anybody
Aye.
against it?
Aye.
Okay, good. All right. Bill?
I said aye.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. So the hearing for that House bill is on March 5th. I think I have to get the letter in a day or two early. I'll figure that out and get that in. Let's see, was there another legislative thing? That might have been it. Okay. Then I just also wanted to mention, I sent everyone the goals for the year. If you have any other feedback, but a couple people have gotten back with me. Thank you very much. But everybody else, by Friday, please send me what you plan to work on this year. And I want to remind everybody, really need you to step up and take on one of our goals and help us achieve them this year. Louisa very generously stepped up to help me write the annual report, so we're working on that together, and I'd like to be able by next year to have even a better report than the year before. So, and then I wanted a question. I know that the budget, there was a listening session in January that our acting county executive had. I'm not sure where things stand with the DOE budget and when we might be able to look at that, but I thought it's time to have that, to find out what that next step is and when we might be able to participate. So I don't know, Marilyn, are you the person?
I will have to ask that question myself. I mean, obviously we have a proposed draft budget
Right,
that's going through like the county's O&B Office of Management budget process currently for both operating CIP, which is the capital improvements, as well as the capital outlay budgets. And Nancy, I'll have to ask because I don't know at what point it can be released or shared with SWAC, or, when it's made public. I know at some point it gets posted online.
right.
And I don't know if,
Well-
Kenneth, I was gonna ask
Yeah.
Kenneth if maybe he could provide some input into that.
Oh, yeah, on the budget process. So the exec has to transmit the budget by March 15th. And right now on the calendar, we're indicating that the exec will probably transmit the budget on Friday, March the 14th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One day early.
So
Okay.
that's the deadline. So it's got to do it by then. Sometimes they might even do it a little earlier than that, but that's the date we're looking at right now, Friday, March 14th.
So is that when it goes like public,
yeah.
or it can go online, and then there's a certain period of time it's open for review, or?
Yes, well, once the budget goes public, everybody can access it and look at it. And that's the date when it's transmitted to the council, and we go through our whole process of reviewing the budget agency by agency. And in fact, let me see, I think I can find when DOE's budget will be in committee on, let's see, I think it's April. Let me check the date for you. I know we got a date in April, and we had to move things around, and we actually have a meeting on a Monday in April too. So we got 3 meetings in April. It's going to be on one of those. I'll look it up real quick before we
Okay,
finish.
thank you.
All right.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Kevin, you're up.
I'll be brief. So, snow duty, RRD personnel continue to work with DPWT to ensure that there is landfill access, especially when weather gets worse. So notices are posted, and posted on the county website regarding the access to the landfill. Area C
Yeah.
infill prod. Marlon?
Kevin, can I just add to that with respect to snow duty? So
Sure.
our equipment operators are also when Public Works goes into to snow duty, we also plow snow on county roads as well. I just wanted to throw that in there. And then we also have a staff member that this is new, where we work in the snow command center as well. So thanks. I just wanted to add that. And then our garage is open because we also, for one of the snow areas in the county that's local to the landfill, our garage at the landfill provides services during snow duty for any of the county snow plows or trucks that have to come in to have any type of repair on it. So this is on the agenda because when we do have snowstorms, which we have had several this year, and may or may not be getting some more snow tomorrow, especially maybe in the southern part of the county. Our division, we do go into snow duty mode with Public Works. Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, thanks, Marlene. So Area C infill project, Eric has explained that the completion date is October 2025. Landfill gas RFP, so as explained by Marlene, the review process is ongoing, and there's a the date where there would be some recommendations to be made by end of this month. The District 2 distribution of recycling carts. So as of January 30, the distribution has been completed, and a total of about 1,300 recycling carts were distributed in District 2. And about 10 outreach events were held at major supermarkets in the area. DOA events, the annual recycling awards will be held on February 26 from 6 to 8 p.m. This is a virtual event. And the next household hazardous waste collection event will be held on March 15 at the Largo Government Center. That's all, Nancy.
Okay, Kevin, can I ask a question about, I had asked,
Sure.
because this has come up with several commissioners, do we have a count of how many unused carts for organics we have? Not recycling, but
Yeah,
different
yes, Nancy, we know, we do, we have an inventory. The count obviously changes day to day because we're constantly distributing carts to new residents when they move into the county and request a cart.
But is it 20,000 or 2,000?
I don't think it's either one of those numbers. I'd have to get it back to you. It's definitely not 20,000.
Okay.
And then, yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Kevin, much appreciated.
So
Any,
Nancy, let me
Kenny,
jump
yes.
in. I have the date for the
Oh.
TIEE committee review of DOE's budget. Operating a CIP is on Thursday, April 24th,
Okay, great.
10 a.m. So I put it in the chat also. So
Okay, great, terrific.
mhm.
Thank you for finding that. Okay, great. I appreciate that. Okay, any other questions or comments? For anybody? No? Okay, well, good. We're done a little bit early. Okay, everybody. So please, I will email you if I don't hear from you. I need to know what you're gonna help us work on this year, so send me an email. And I will follow up with a final chart and send that out again to everybody. So please get back with me, and that's it for the month, so let's keep rolling. All right, thanks, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thanks.